Welcome to the meeting on Datan Summaries. You have all reached a new age in your life, and I would like to show you how to make a Datan summary so you can predict where you will be going in future ages. Look back into the past and find out what you have done, or find out what has made you the way you are. And maybe even have something to put on your wall or a structure for your biography, your autobiography. So let's begin. So here we have the ages. The base ages are 3, 4, and 5. You stay pretty much the same for all of being 3, or all of being 4, or all of being 5. But then when these ages double, you take life 2 years at a time. So it's 6, 8, and 10. I actually would think that it was because I was 6 in 2002. I would think there was 6, and I would also think it was 2002 before I corrected myself, until I was 8. And that actually happens on the first day of, or on the first week of August, which is this week. Might be it for another episode. Then the ages double again, and you have 4-year-long ages, then 8-year-long ages, then 16-year-long ages, and then finally 32-year-long ages. But most people don't live to be more than that. Don't live to be more than 2 of these, or more than one of these 32-year-long ages. This is what? Did I? Yes. So for 3 to 6, you start to discover your traits about yourself. And then from 6 to 12, you start developing your main career skills. Like, I wanted to be an inventor, so I started working with electronics when I was 8, which of course extended to when I was 9. 12 to 24, people deal with plans. You have a different plan for each age here. And then you have a different accomplishment for each age. So 24, 32, 40. You might go to college, or you might go to graduate school, you might have a kid, you might create your magnum opus as a scientist, or do your best work for one of these. You could do 3 of those things. Then for 48, 64, and 80, you start to put together the legacies you leave behind. So these are actually direct derivatives of the things below them. Below on the hierarchy of ages is always half, and above is multiplied by 2. So since people remember most what is at half their age, the ages are directly derivative of the ones below them, as well as the ones behind them, but not as much. Now we have the extended ages. If you came in to this group and you were just like 8 years old or 5 years old, and you were like, where are all the ages that I've already been? And then you would be wondering, or you might be helped by this information. There are the ages below the main ages. And that goes all the way back to birth. Normally, it would keep going back forever and never reach birth. But Anlia, or this paradigm, subscribes to an idea that life begins 3 months before birth, at the time when language and such skills start to develop, through scientific scans of brains, which are publicly searchable. So you subtract 3 months from every age here, or you'd subtract 3 months from every age that's half of 3, 4, and 5. And you get these month intervals: 15 months, 21 months, 27 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 1.5 months, 3 months, 4.5 months. That's 1.5 months is 6 weeks, and 4.5 months is 18 weeks. If you want to go back further, you could fill in this one, or actually this one. And then up, you have 96, 128, 160. Now I know you're not, if you join this group and you're 96 and you're thinking, what am I going to do next? I'm probably not going to live much longer. And there's, to get to the 32 age, this is, or to get to the 32-year ages above, this is something to think about. There is this group is called factions. And basically the idea is that after you die, the people who carry on, the people who read your pieces of legacy, you know, your books, the people who are your grandchildren, and various other monuments or things you've left behind, they break up into factions. And then they continue to carry on these patterns when it comes to vertical theory. So you might put these, well, now's the part where I tell you how to do the actual Datan summary. So this is an example of a Datan summary. You just take things that happened in these ages, and you put one in each box. It's up to you to decide which ones are more important. What is the most important thing that happened when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 20? And you can write that down. You can write that down as words, or you can draw it in pictures. I really like this picture representation of my Datan summary. It's got the O for originality, that letter for when I invented the language of Belugada, the initial of N for NAD, Datan, and also the last letter in Datan. So that worked out pretty well. Got the subject. I wrote a story about Aqua Cat when I was 6, which fits into writing. I started making electronics. This was my logo. It was my logo for CreateCo. 10, I had running from camps. I ran away from so many summer camps. And I made this little thing for a little dot separating from a big dot. I wanted to be famous on YouTube when I was 12. That was my life plan. I worked for Mess of Comedy. There's still remnants of that on my current YouTube channel. I wanted to build Anlia from a company. That's when I was 16. I sold a book of, or I wanted to sell my book of inventions and make a bunch of money to invest in building Anlia when I was 20 to 24. And that's really my life. Now you can take these, maybe I'll just, well, I plan to actually have people in this group. Which meant that I would be showing these various infographics and letting people draw their Datan summaries. For like an hour. But I'm going to have to say this is where I end the video. All right. So